You are listening to You Restored with Dr. Kelley Reis. To listen to all episodes, visit libertynaturalwellness.com. On this episode of You Restored, I want to talk to you about what a chicken, a horse, and a gray fox have to do with you not getting better. I didn't want to start my podcast talking about, giving you my origin story, where I came from and why I do what I do now. I figured you'd probably rather hear about my views on health. I've been in practice 22 years, so 2 decades. I've seen what works, what doesn't work, and I formulated my ideas through that time. But more importantly, it's been probably the last 4 years that it's really been enlightening for me. Being in practice for 2 decades, I have seen the same story play out. You've been to numerous doctors. You've seen them all the specialists, all the conventional doctors, even all the functional doctors. You've done the protocols, you've done the supplements, and maybe you're a little bit better, but something still isn't right. You still haven't felt like you should be able to feel. You haven't felt optimal. And that is something that I have seen in my own practice. Like I said, 2 decades, I've certainly seen my share of clients come through, do the work, get better, certainly get better, but not reaching that ultimate goal of really feeling optimal. And this is where it's really gotten important to understand that we need to move beyond protocols. We see this often as more of a chemistry problem. Input equals output. So if I do the protocol and I do all the supplements, then that means I'm going to feel better. The output is optimization. So fix the thyroid, heal the gut, balance the hormones, and then everything's going to be okay. In theory, that would be correct. In theory, that the input would equal the output. And, that works a lot of time because we're working on diet and we are doing some balancing, certainly balancing hormones and working on gut improvement, gut microbiome improvement, maybe supplementing or even medicating a thyroid if there's hypothyroid. So definite improvement. But there is always something lacking. And what I realized is I wasn't going to find that in a textbook. I was going to find it in my life on a homestead. About 4 years ago, we bought a homestead and 15 acres in the Florida panhandle. Y'all, it was going to be Pinterest to me. It was going to be the beautiful chicken coops, wooden beautiful chicken coops, and, the green pastures. And horses weren't in my idea at the beginning. They were in my daughter's idea, but they weren't in mine. But they are a beautiful part of our homestead now. But it was going to be absolutely beautiful. And then the dog days of summer hit in Florida. And I know Florida, I've lived in northern Florida before, so I was certainly aware of the dog days of summer. But when you have a homestead and you have animals that you're responsible for, it becomes a whole different ballgame. The mud is unforgiving, the drought. I know many of you have heard me talk about the horrendous drought that we have experienced. So it has really, really been more challenging than ever. Humbling, to be honest with you, humbling. I'd like to talk about my orange chicken. I named her Orange Chicken. She's orange. She looks like my other orange chicken. She's a Buff Orpington. So I have nicknamed her Orange Chicken. About 2 weeks ago, I heard squawking outside. That's never a good thing. It's a certain squawk you learn that is not a good squawk. And came outside, threw my shoes on, ran outside, saw scuffling and started to yell. And lo and behold, there is a juvenile gray fox carrying off Orange Chicken. She's limp in his mouth and it's carrying her off. So instinctively, what do? I growl. Growled, stomped, yelled, and the fox dropped her. And I go running up to her and she's laying limp on the ground, eyes glassy, open. I'm like, oh, she's a goner. For sure she's dead. Well, I picked her up and kind of saw her move a little bit. I inspected her, no punctures, no blood, nothing like that. And she started to come to a little bit. And I walked away, I turned around. What do I see? The little gray fox is coming back for his prize, his or her prize, and scared it away again, growled, all of that. What I've learned is that my chicken had what's called tonic immobility. And this is, in essence, a survival mechanism. It's innate. They're not choosing to do this. That a predator likes the fight. And if something's limp, it's less interested. So it is a survival mechanism that they go limp. Kind of like fainting. So she faints. She goes immobile and she starts to come through, come back to kind of life here. And I nursed her back. I brought her inside. And over time, she has come back to herself. Now, there is a relationship here with humans. You're probably like, why the heck is Kelley talking about a chicken? What does this have to do with me? There's a beautiful lesson here in humans, in human survival mode, in sympathetic dominance. So Orange Chicken, over 10 days, little by little, she would walk around and she would just stand in a corner. I knew she hurt. I mean, she was in the mouth of a fox. But she would stand, conserve energy in a corner. She would not eat. And little by little, each day, she'd do a little bit more and a little bit more. And 10, 12 days since the attack, she's back to herself. I'd say she's about 97%. Now, she's not processing like a human does. Like, I'm going to stay in sympathetic dominance. She is learning over these last, 10 to 14 days that she is safe. Okay, I'm safe again. She is learning safety and she's responding. Her body's responding. It's safe. Now she has also, when she used to be top, king of or queen, I should say, of the roost, top rung of the roost and, always kind of in charge. Well, while she was weak, she was being bullied by the other chickens. So I had to put her separate. And it's like, almost like they were expecting her, like, what happened to you? Like, what's wrong with you? Get back to normal. Humans do the same thing. We go through our fight or flight, and when we're not returning to normal, we might have people like, why aren't you better? What's wrong? Why aren't you not having that time to truly heal? But really, understanding safety. I don't know that we really go through a process of safety. And what I mean by that is that this constant fight or flight mode, our bodies aren't learning it's okay to be safe. It's not so easy to heal if we're not recognizing that we are safe. She recognized she was safe. It took her 10 to 12 days. She's back on that top rung, eating. She's all back. 10 to 12 days. Think of your life or someone you love, their life, and not given the opportunity to really feel safe and go through that healing process. Maybe having, family, friends being a little bit rough, like what's taking you so long? Why aren't you back? And, maybe a little lack of compassion to some degree. But it's because we're not feeling safe. That's why we don't heal. And I love looking at my animals. I'll tell you what, my animals are my greatest teacher. I never expected that. I literally just thought the Pinterest homestead. But what I'm getting is the down, dirty process that is leading me to understanding human health more than I ever have in the 2 decades that I've been practicing. So understanding safety. That was, it seems so simple, that message, but it's something that is missed. There is a gap in healing that I'm seeing in the holistic world. There is a real gap. We're balancing hormones. We are fixing guts. We are fixing thyroids, but we aren't getting deeper than that. The nervous system piece, that's the gap that's missing. And I want this podcast to serve as understanding more about that gap. That the homestead is teaching me more than I ever imagined. So many of you know that I also have an off-track thoroughbred. It's kind of a rescue situation when somebody takes a thoroughbred, because a lot of times they just put them down. So I have this gorgeous 1,300-pound Secretariat descendant off-track thoroughbred. And he's skittish. I have a quarter horse too, and he's very calm and chill. I always joke and say he's like Eeyore, honestly. But Leo, my off-track thoroughbred, they're a whole different beast when it comes to horses. And the lesson I am learning from him, if I touch that pasture gate with anything but calm energy, he knows it. I don't even have to walk into the pasture. He'll look at me, kind of check me out. He'll walk away if I do not have the right energy. I have a wonderful trainer who tells me you cannot work with a horse if you are not grounded, if you are not in a calm state. And she is so right. So right. And when you start to pay attention, it's pretty amazing. It's co-regulation. That's what's happening. So he's checking out me going, no, I don't want to work with you today. You're frenetic. You're a little hyper. You had too much coffee, or you have too many things in your mind. So you're not feeling safe to me. So it comes back to safety again. They're prey animals. They're ginormous, but they're prey animals. So they're, feeling out the situation. Is it safe to be around this person? Whoa, their energy's a little too intense. So it's amazing how when I touch that gate, and this is something I picked up on very early, you do not want to be in the wrong state of mind when you are working with a 1,200, 1,300 pound animal that could kill you. Like, not intentionally, usually, sometimes I guess, but not him. But the danger of getting injured or, seriously hurt is there. So walking out in the pasture, focusing on my grounding, my calm, is crucial. You see it in his face. He will walk up to me now. I always enter that pasture with a calm energy, or I don't enter it. That's a big lesson. You see, when I come up to him and I'm like, let's do some work. Let's approach this, you and I. It's teamwork. It's teamwork. I'm not there to beat him down. I'm not there to make him do something more than I am there to partner with him, for him to respect me, for him to want to work with me, for him to want to partner with me. And you see it in his eyes, in his face, like their face will hold tension. I've learned a lot about that. I think it's really cool. If I'm tense, I'll see it in his face. And when I'm calm, his eyes soften, his ears soften, his face softens, and he is so well-mannered. We just thought early on that he was just, I would say young and spicy, because he is young, but that he was ill-mannered. And he certainly needs some manners, but how quickly he fell into those good manners when I noticed I'm in calm place, he now knows he's safe. Horses, I learned this. If you're on the other side of water and you're calling your horse to you, your horse will jump to exactly where you're standing. So it's kind of dangerous. It can be very dangerous if you're calling the horse. The horse senses, well, if they're standing there, it's safe. They're calm and they're good in that spot. I'm going to stand right in that spot. Horses are amazing for this. They will size you up and figure out what mood you're in, and they will either walk away from you or they will match that mood. So it's the co-regulation is amazing. That message was phenomenal. Like goosebumps, important to me. Dogs. I've got 2 dogs, and these dogs, what I have also learned from them is that they will look at me like, how am I supposed to feel in this situation? Like if somebody drives up into our property, they'll check me out. What should I feel? Neuroception. This is a great key term. Neuroception. They are sizing up my mood. So if we are in a bad mood, I've had my dogs fight before. When we are all like frustrated with each other, the dogs are like, it's time to be frustrated. So let's fight each other. We've had to break up a dog fight before. We have learned as a family that dogs, they are looking to you for, how am I supposed to feel in this moment? Am I safe? Is there a threat? Am I reading safety or am I reading threat? I never imagined moving on, onto a homestead, that I would learn more about human health in the true foundation than I have. It's been phenomenal how I've drawn from these experiences what I need to do with my clients. So I'm hammering. Nervous system has to come first. If your body doesn't feel safe, you will not heal fully. You may get some balanced hormones or that thyroid, especially if you're on medication, you have hypothyroid, you will absolutely, have improvements. But the nervous system has to come first. I was talking to a client who I was explaining, there's supplements, here's the protocol, but if you don't regulate your nervous system, and this is what you need to do, like I gave him a list of what he needs to do in a day to regulate his nervous system. Absolutely nervous person. Trauma in the past, a competitive athlete, running in a sympathetic dominant state nonstop. His comment was, wow, that's a lot of work. And honestly, the reason a lot of practitioners do not comment about this work is not everybody wants to do it. I've mentioned that before, broken record time. I've mentioned that. Not everybody is willing to do that work. They want the protocol, they want the input, and they want to get the output. But for true output, you've got to get out of the threat mode. You've got to get out of the threat mode. I'm sure you've done a lot. We've all been through a lot. The missing piece, however, is that nervous system work. Who would have thought it would take a gray fox, an orange chicken, a thoroughbred, and my dogs to teach me that lesson so that I can teach you? I didn't expect it. It was a welcome teaching that I appreciate. I pay so much more attention to nature. We had horrible storms come through and tornado threat, imminent danger warnings were coming across our phone. My horses were out playing in the pasture. My ducks were waddling in the water. I knew there wasn't a tornado going to hit us directly because they wouldn't do that. So I've learned to absolutely pay attention to my animals. And I want you to better understand that recognizing threat from safety is the most core thing you can do. I'm Dr. Kelley. This is You Restored. Make sure you're doing the real work.